Hey guys, and welcome to part 6 of my Family Home Speed Build series. This is the final part in the series, and we're tackling the outside of the house now. If you haven't seen the first 5 parts, I definitely recommend going back and watching those. I go through each room or each type of room one by one, so I do all of the bedrooms at once, I do all of the bathrooms at once, etc. And I think that this house turned out really cool overall. I'm very happy with the way that it looks aesthetically, and I am really pleased with the way that it works for this family. Right now I am going through the debug menu. This is the new debug menu that came with the update back in July, and I love it. I spend way too much time on it, so I do cut out a lot of that out, so you don't have to sit there watching me play with various items that don't make sense, but I do spend some time on that. Basically, the best part about it to me is that all of those debug items are free, so you can really build out the outside of a house or clutter up the garage or what have you without having to go through your Sims money. And that's important, especially for a family, because they can go through simoleons pretty quickly, and this house was not cheap to build overall. I thought it might be at first. I was kind of hoping to make it a little bit cheaper, but they're an established family as far as I'm concerned. They've lived here in this house for years, so I'm going to play them on the assumption that they have been building up this house and all of their items over time, so it would make sense that they would live in a slightly more expensive place, even though they are a new family for my game overall. I noticed here that I had forgotten a door out to the backyard from the kitchen, so I made sure to correct that, and that reminded me as well that I didn't put a door out onto the balcony, which of course is located in the teen daughter's bedroom, so I had to kind of reconfigure things a little bit to make that work, but I did get that door out there, so it is usable space, and I didn't clutter that part up too much or at all in this video actually, and it's kind of just available for you to do with whatever you want. I made sure that the father of this family is a gardener. He has the green thumb, I believe. I can't remember for sure, but whatever trait he has, I wanted to reflect in the backyard, so I wanted to give him a space to kind of do his thing. And since it's a family, I wanted to give them space to hang out outside and be family together. So they have that little table set out there they can use. And since there are children and children to come, they have a swing set for them to play on and work on those skills. It's funny, when I was taking the screenshots, I put that wind chime out there. And when I was taking the screenshots, I was using one of the Sims to go through whatever that mode is where you see through first person mode. I was going through first person mode with the teenage girl, and she was getting so mad at the wind chimes, and it was just kind of funny, so I thought I had to mention that. But yeah, this debug menu is so great for plants. I am a crazy plant lady. Maybe not crazy, but I love putting as many plants outdoors as possible. So I just am really connecting a lot to this menu of items that we have available to us now. And I feel like the dad's kind of similar to me, that he really likes plants too. He loves the outdoors and loves nature and wants that to be reflected as much as possible in his home. And since there's not a ton of extra space inside, his domain is the outside, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that us plant lovers would be appreciative of. And I thought about doing like a wall here. It didn't last very long. I tried to do it with the debug items, and I didn't actually like how it turned out, and that particular wall is just a little bit too mossy for me. It must be from the ruins or something like that, so I decided to get rid of that and attempt it with a different type of wall, and ultimately just decided that no, these people, they don't need a bunch of frills, and they don't need to keep things locked in. They are open-minded, loving people, and they wanted to keep their lives open in the backyard too. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense, but it's just kind of funny. I was like, there's no fencing them in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I would have loved to put more trees in the backyard, but it's so cramped back there that I decided against it, figuring that it wouldn't work. The tree that I did place back there, though, I love how mossy it looks, because it reminds me of something that you would see in a swamp. And since I'm basing this house off of like a New Orleans style house or a Louisiana style house, I thought that was really fitting because of the swamps in Louisiana. I've actually been to one swamp in Slidell, Louisiana, and it was so cool. We did the swamp tour where you get to go out and you get to feed the alligators marshmallows and things like that, and it was just really cool how like mossy things were. And this is going to be silly, but if you've ever seen The Princess and the Frog, or what is that one, the new one called? The one with Tiana, the Disney movie. When they're going through the swamp, it's like that, where you have like ropes of moss and grass and stuff like that hanging from trees, and I felt like that was really accurate. So I decided to place that tree there, so kind of bring that full circle back to the style of the house. And guys, I love placing garages in builds because first of all, it makes sense. Most houses in the United States have garages, as far as I know. So it makes sense that my Sims houses would have them too if I'm trying to base them. And I could use a little bit more garage stuff, to be honest. And I'll say this in every video where I talk about garages, I do not need cars. I do not need drivable cars for my Sims. I'm perfectly happy with the debug cars that don't go anywhere. That is a-okay with me. And I never used to do this before, where you kind of darken the land around trees or grass and things like that, but I've started doing that since watching Simlissy's videos, and she's just fantastic to begin with, but I feel like that adds an extra like natural, like realistic aspect to the builds. And then right now I figured, since the father is going to be a gardener, maybe he would want to have like an option to do something with flowers too. So I put that flower station in there in the garage. Like I said, you can't have enough plants. I'm really concerned about things clipping in. So if you ever notice that I put the walls up whenever I do something like this, it's because I don't want them to clip into the room, and I try to be really careful about that, because there's nothing worse than playing your game for half an hour or whatever, and then having built this beautiful house and then coming into a room and realizing, oh, there's a leaf hanging inside the house that was from the outdoors. Like, especially after you've uploaded it to the gallery, or hyped it up on Twitter, Instagram, or something. It kind of sucks. So I try to avoid that as much as possible, and to begin with. I wanted this backyard to feel very lush too. So that's why I play a lot with extra plants and flowers and things. Some of the clutter items that are available to us now really do make a lot of sense for a build like this. I wish we had more though. Like an outdoor stuff or a garage stuff pack, like I mentioned, would be kind of cool, even though not all of it would be usable. It would be really cool to have it just to begin with. And I end up putting a little table in here so that there's some extra storage space, but I really wanted to find a table that was already like on theme, kind of. But I find a couple of things in the debug menu that work for a gardener, like that leaf blower. I really like that. I feel like a garage is nothing fancy, so I try not to do too much crazy stuff with it, but there are a lot of things in them that make you feel like you're in your home. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm saying that a lot today. I don't know if that makes sense. This is the second video that I've done a voiceover for, and I feel like I keep saying that. But it's true. Let me know if I sound completely crazy, because it's totally possible. That tray would have been perfect because it also has those strips of moss and stuff hanging from them. It would have looked so cool in there. I do love finding things while I'm working on one room and ending up placing them in other rooms. It's kind of fun. And this is where I'm like, would it work on a different table? No, it doesn't. It's okay though. How weird is it that you can place a baby from the debug menu, you guys? I don't know if you caught that, but you can actually place a baby. It's so funny. I've never tried to play it. I always delete them before I go into my play mode, but it is so crazy. Like, whose baby is it? It doesn't make any sense. I thought this was cute at first, and then I was like, nah, it doesn't really fit. Like, it doesn't really work for this family. They're not fancy. I wanted to give them somewhere where they could hang out back there, especially the dad, since he's outdoorsy. This gives him the option to go out and take a nap on the seat in the backyard or whatever. Or just hang out and read a book or something, because that's something I like doing, so I wanted to make sure to add that in there. But you guys, this is the end of the build. This is the end of this series, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it and you like how it turned out as much as I do. It'll be available in the gallery now, so if you want to download this house and the family that goes with it, then that is all available for you. Please keep an eye out for my next video. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I will post about it on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which I will link all of those below. So if you want to keep up with me and my builds, then that's the best way to do it. But I want to appreciate everybody who has been watching this series and who's commented and given feedback. Thank you so much, and I hope everybody has a lovely day. Thanks again. Bye.